بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا عاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عبد الله ورسوله أما بعد. Today is Sunday, the 15th day of Rajab, 1444 years after the hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It also corresponds with the 5th day of February 2023. Today is our 13th episode in the Seerah. In the last episode we spoke about the first revelation, the first time Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the revelation. Today we are going to look at a very important scenario or juncture in that whole issue, which is when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saw Jibreel, and then he received the first revelation. He was frightened, so he ran home to Khadija radiallahu anha, and we're going to look at Khadija's reaction. How did she react? And it's a lesson for all of us, for us as husbands, for our wives, and how we're going to go about, some situations in life. It's very important. As we said earlier on, that, or in previous episodes, that we're not just going to read the Seerah just for reading's sake or just to know the events. We're going to pick lessons from whatever we're going to read from. When the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam got home, and he told Khadija, Zammiluni, cover me up, get me a bedspread, get me a blanket. وَلَقَدْ خَشِيتُ عَلَى نَفْسِي. I've seen something which is very frightening. And Khadija spoke some words. Khadija's reaction is very, very phenomenal, in the sense that if you run home as a man, you run home, came banging on the door, get me a blanket, get me a blanket. Your wife will be like, hey, wait, what's going on? What's wrong with you? What's happening today? And to your man, what are you running away from? So you were a coward like this. I never knew I married a coward, and she'll say all kinds of things. It's possible. But then Khadija, she got the blanket, and then she covered him up, and she sat next to him, she consoled him, and then she spoke some words. She said, Kalla. Wallahi la yukhziyaka Allahu abada. The Almighty Allah is never going to disgrace you. He came home frightened, scared, and she told him, no, the Almighty Allah is not going to disgrace you. And then she spoke to him about some qualities that he had, in trying to encourage him, in trying to motivate him, in trying to keep him steadfast. She spoke to him, she reminded him of some good qualities that he had. The moral behind this, number one, is you should be very careful who you are choosing as a spouse. Whether you are choosing a wife or you are choosing a husband. Because marriage is a lifelong project. It is not a 2-week or a 3-week or a 1-month vacation. No. It's a lifelong project. There's a saying that marriage is like a prison, so choose your cellmate wisely. Because the person you're going to get married to is someone you're going to share your inner secrets, your deepest fears. You're not going to have only a physical connection, but you're going to have an emotional, a psychological, and a spiritual connection with that person. So you need to be careful who you're choosing as your soulmate. A lot of people have retrogressed in life because they chose the wrong woman or the wrong man as a spouse. A lot of people are having challenges in their marriages today because they just decided to get married to the person within a split of second. Maybe he sees that she's tall, she's fair, she has a long nose, and then she has a long hair behind her back, and then she's walking, and then she's wriggling, and then she's bouncing, and she's walking, and then he goes all crazy. He's just licking his lips and then swallowing his saliva. It's like, if I don't marry this girl, I'll die. Even if you don't marry her, you'll die. So it's very important you take your time when you are choosing a spouse. Because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ got married to Khadija, and the predominant opinion is that she's older than him, even though there are some opinions that say Khadija was around 18 years. There are some opinions who say that. But then the predominant opinion is that she was 45 at that time. So he chose a woman who is older than him 15 years. She's 15 years older than him. A 25-year-old gentleman in Mecca at that time is getting married, and then he gets married to a 45-year-old woman who has got married to 2 men before him. She married the first one, he died. She married the second one, he died. And then she closed her door to marriage. She's no longer going to get married again until she met the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If I am a 25-year-old man and I'm looking to get married, I'm looking for the 18-year-old or the 19-year-old girl. That's natural. But then, because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's understanding of marriage, his vision for marriage, goes beyond bedroom issues and intimate and sexual and body issues. It goes beyond that. Because he got married to Khadija, they lived for 25 years, and then she was the solidifying person for him in his life. If he goes out there and then the people of Makkah mock him or insult him or speak bad about him, he comes home and then he finds a pillar waiting for him to support him, a cushion, a shield, a guard for him in Khadija. So if you're choosing a spouse, choose someone who, number one, is a Muslim and then is very much concerned about the deen. Don't just see a girl on the street because her name is Khadija or Aisha or Fulira and then you just know she's a Muslim. No. Last time I said this, I don't know if it's in the male class or it's in the sisters class, that it was in the sisters class on Friday, that some people say they are Muslims, but they are not practicing Muslims. It's a little bit problematic for me, that term. I'm a Muslim, but not a practicing Muslim. It's like you're saying you are a citizen, but you're not a law-abiding citizen. That's what you're saying. I'm a Muslim, but I'm not practicing. Islam is a religion of practice. It's not a theoretical religion. It's a religion that is, you go into the laboratory and you practice. So if you tell me you are a Muslim, but then you're not a practicing Muslim, it's a little bit problematic for me. But then, we shouldn't negate that person and throw them out. No, that person needs our advice, and then let's pull them closer. So, you need to find a Muslim who is a Muslim, who understands the deen and is very, very conscious about the deen. You know, we've got to a time whereby when someone is getting married, whether male or female, we want to know what's their credit score, how much money they have in the bank, what career do they have, okay, what neighborhood are they coming from, okay, what kind of house do they live in, what kind of car do they ride. That's all that we are concerned. So we end up marrying people who are morally bankrupt, who do not have any connection with Almighty Allah, who do not have any relationship with Almighty Allah. It's just oil on top of water. It's all rosy and beautiful. And then when we get married, when the reality starts to set in, then we find problems. It starts breaking and cracking. Because the foundation upon which we initiated the marriage is not based on a sound Islamic ideology. The Prophet Muhammad said, إِذَا جَاءَكُمْ مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَخُلُقَهُ فَزَوِّجُوهُ. If someone comes to you and then you are satisfied with his deen, and then you are satisfied with his character, give him your daughter for marriage. We are Muslims, and in Islam eschews tribalism. But then sometimes when you're going to get married, they want to ask you your tribe. Where are you from? Who is your father? Not because they want to know you, but they want to know which tribe are you from. Even within the tribe, they want to know which clan you are from, whether your ancestors were slaves or not. This goes on up to now. Some tribes don't want to get married to some tribes. Some people don't want to get married to some people. A sister sent me a message that she's looking for a husband, but she doesn't want people from this side, she doesn't want people from this side, she doesn't want people from this side, she doesn't want people from this side. I said, then you're not looking for a husband, you are looking for an angel to marry you. You're not looking for a human being, you are looking for an angel or a jinn to marry you. Because all these people that you are mentioning, these are my people, and these are the people that I move with, these are the people that I engage with. So if you're telling me to help you find a husband, but then you already have your checklist, all your checklists are my people, then you're not looking for a human being. Sometimes people's, tastes or specs or specifications, you look at them and you realize this is not a human being. Sometimes some sisters will say, I want a tall, handsome, well-educated, Islamically oriented, with a good earning job, who has his own car. He must be riding the latest Tesla, and then he must be and then he must be in a 4-bedroom apartment which is not too close to downtown and not so far from the ghetto. And you're like, is she serious at all? And sometimes you meet young men too, I want to get married to a Hafidah. She has memorized the Quran. She wears niqab outside, but in the bedroom she must be a diva. Me, I should look for a wife like that and give it to you. Me, I don't like good things. Me, I don't want good things. Me, I should look for a good wife for you. She's a good Muslimah, she's well educated, she's beautiful, she comes from a good home, and then this and that's all the qualities. You will sit in the comfort of your room sleeping, and I will go and look for that wife and then give it to you on the silver platter. You are not serious. The idea is, number one, your priority should be that that person is on the deen. That's number one. And that's the most important criteria. Because if you bring in someone who is not on the deen, wallah, you're going to have challenges. Yes, Islam allows us to marry women from the book, people of the book. Islam allows us, we men, Muslim men, to marry women from the Jews or the Christians. It's allowed. But when you look at the circumstances that we find ourselves in now in the dunya, if you're going to marry a Christian woman or a Jewish woman, you are just preparing yourself for disaster. And this is a fact. It is encouraged so long as you can find the right woman, chaste, well-mannered Christian woman or a Jewish woman. The Sharia allows for that. But then, if you look at the circumstances that we find ourselves in now, it's quite difficult. In the end, sometimes you get married to women like that, you give birth to children, you are a Muslim in the house, and the kids are something else. Because you don't have enough control over how the nurturing and the upbringing of the children is going to be as a man. It's the woman who has that. She got pregnant with them in 9 months. She breastfed them for 2 years. She nurtured them. She taught them how to speak. You cannot negate that influence of a mother on a child. Listen, you are even getting married to a Muslim sister and then it is problematic. How much more you are going to get married to a sister who is not a Muslim? For the sisters, you are not allowed to marry anybody who is not a Muslim. For us, the men, we are allowed to marry Christian women or Jewish women. But for you, the sisters, you are not allowed. You're only supposed to marry a Muslim man. Because the man is given the priority and then the dominance in the family, and then he decides how the family runs. And then Islam has given you rights as a Muslim woman. And then he, as that non-Muslim man, those responsibilities are not compulsory upon him. They are not obligatory upon him. So he might end up denying you your rights, and then we the Muslims cannot do anything because he's not a Muslim, and then he's not held, accountable or responsible by what? By Islamic rules and regulations. So that's why Islam says no. Because we believe that Islam is the only religion that treats the woman right at the utmost level. So if you end up with another man from another religion, then there are rights that Islam has given you that that man doesn't know because he's not a Muslim. And then we the Muslims cannot charge him and say, by force, come and give her rights. He's not a Muslim. For example, if a woman is in her menstruation or a menstrual period, her husband is not allowed to go near her in terms of touching her intimately. But he is not a Muslim, he doesn't know that. So he will violate your right in that regard. That's even just an example. The Muslim woman has a right to inheritance when her husband dies, when her child dies, when her parents die. There are specific portions within the Sharia and specific ratios that the Sharia has given to the woman. So if he is not a Muslim, he is not conversant with those rights and responsibilities, and then you will end up being shortchanged. So number one, let's find people who are on the deen, who are oriented on the deen. That is number one. Number two, let's look for people who have sympathy and pity. Wallahi, let's look for people whose hearts are soft and nice and get married to those people. Wallahi, if the tables turn or if issues get worse, that person will be humble, will be patient with us. Same way Khadija that had that soft heart for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he came from Ghar al-Hira, scared of what he had seen, and then he ran towards her, she had the pity that, no, this man is in a situation. This man is in a very serious condition. This man might be within a life or death situation. I need to find a tactical way of how to deal with that. Not compound the issue or exacerbate the issue. So you need to find a spouse who will have that feeling towards you. That nice attitude towards you, that as a man, you go out there to go and work, and then you don't make enough money to come and support the family. She is patient with the little that you've brought. She is not going to break hell in the house for you. And sometimes you need to be truthful about when you have and when you don't have. Some of you go to work, you get money, you come home, you go into the toilet, 3 hours, you are counting your money because you don't want the wife to see the money that you have. Some of you are your underwears, your boxes, your undies, you have another pocket in the undies. That is where you hide your money. Because you don't want the woman to know that you have money. But you go out and go and spend rich on other women, on other things that are unnecessary. Definitely, if the woman suspects this and then you come home with peanuts, she's going to complain. So it takes two to tango. If you want to have a stable house, a stable home, and a stable family as a man, you need to come clean and clear. In as much as we are knocking the woman, we also have to knock you the men too, so that we balance the equation. Because if a woman, you're living with a woman and then she knows that you're doing your best, you're paying the bills of the house, you're taking care of the home, you're doing your role as a man, and then she knows the job that you're doing, and then she can envisage how much you earn, and then she realizes that all your money goes into the safekeeping of the house. If you come home one day and then you say, no, this month, things have not gone the way I expected, so this is the little that we have, so we need to manage. If we are buying, 50-pound bag of rice, this month we are going to buy 25 or 30. Let's manage that. If you are eating 2 bowls of food a day, to this month try and eat 1 bowl in a day, the kids are going to understand, the family is going to understand. But then you as the father, you go out, you make money, you come home, and then we see you outside with other women going to restaurants, and then you buy all Gucci and stuff, and then you come and tell us, as for this month, you people need to relax. It's not going to work. So find someone who has that sympathy with you. The third point is, find someone who has the vision to see a positive future for you. Especially parents, when you're looking for spouses for your kids, when you are encouraging your sons to go and ask for a girl's hand in marriage, or when you are looking for a husband for your daughter, look for someone who has the vision to see a positive future for your child. Not just anybody, someone who has the vision to see the future of your child and then the future of your grandchildren. It's important. I always say this, don't get married for only sexual gratification. Yes, sexual gratification is part of marriage. It's a pillar in marriage, but that's not the only thing in marriage. You need to find someone who will sit down and say, I see something positive in this young man. And young women, be careful about looking for the finished package. Young women of today, they are looking for the finished package. So the men will always deceive them. If you come to them and you say, no, I'm in a shift job, I make about $2,000 a month, they're like, no. But you come and lie to them. I'm in University of Penn. I'm reading medicine. And I'm having an attachment with one of our professors, and he's willing to pay me $200 an hour. And a week, I work about 45 or 50 hours a week. So if it's 50 hours a week, and I'm being paid $2,200 an hour, that's how much mathematicians a week. That's how much. Math students. That's about 2,000 or 20,000. That's 20,000. That's 20,000 a week. And she's like, oh my God.
No, 2,000 a week.
2,000 a week. Oh my God, he makes $2,000 a week. That's about $8,000 a month. And he's only an apprentice. What if he becomes his own master? He's going to earn double or triple that. With all due respect, not knowing he might be a janitor in the institution. And then she's dying behind him. And then his boss sends him with a car to go and go change the oil. And then he drives by her. Oh wow, that is his ride. She goes crazy. You know very well, this is what happens. People who go and borrow clothes, borrow the latest tuxedo, $10,000 worth of suit, and then some shoes, go and borrow cars, and they come and flaunt it. And these girls go crazy, they go mad. You see him, he's cute, he's handsome, he's making good money. Oh wow, I can't wait to get married to him. And then you, the father, you see through all the smoke, and you're telling her, my daughter, this guy is not married material. And she's like, no, daddy, if I don't marry him, I'll commit suicide. And then you, the father, you want your daughter, you allow her to get married to him. She marries him, and in 2 months she realizes that no, that guy was only a smoke screen. And then she comes back home and she was like, daddy, I no longer want to get married to him again. What happened? Because you didn't choose the right way. So you need to be very careful who you choose as a marriage partner, because that is going to determine how your life is going to turn out. Wallahi, sometimes if you meet men on the streets and then they are speaking all alone to themselves, they are not mad. They are not crazy. It's problems in the house that is too much for some men. Issues. You meet him on the street and then he's speaking to himself all alone, aloud. He's not crazy. The fire that is waiting for him in the house, it's not easy. Even the fire department cannot put out that fire. Sometimes some men, after Isha, his blood pressure goes high because he's going to go and face problem in the house. Some women too, after Isha, her blood pressure goes high because what? The lion is coming back into the house. It goes both ways. So sometimes, wallahi, I know of a man, a well-to-do rich man. He has his own home, he has his own car. He has 2 wives. One of the wives gives him problems. Sometimes when he's at her place, one day he came home, he entered the house with his car, he parked, and then he slept in the car. He got home and then he just relaxed like this on the seat of the car. He was thinking of how to open the door and then go into his own house. He was thinking of what is waiting for him there. And then he slept in the car like that. He sat down and then he slept in the car like that. Why? Because if he goes into the house, what is waiting for him? Even the Supreme Court judges cannot grill you like that. And some women, when the husband leaves the home, hey, alhamdulillah, he's gone. They are happy. hey, problem is gone. Sometimes the moment you are leaving the house, they say, go. Because you are a problem, you are a terror in the house. And then when it is time for you to come back home, they start counting the minutes and the seconds. He's coming. He's coming. He's coming. And then when you come, they hear you, you've parked the car. The person who is standing sits down. The person who is sitting sleeps by force. The one who is on the chair will fall under the bed because you are a terror in the house. Some fathers are like that. Wallah, it creates an atmosphere in the house that breeds love, respect, but then discipline. We are not saying that you cannot discipline your home. No. We are not saying that as a man, when you come home, the family shouldn't be aware that you are there. No. Yes, command some respect, but then mixed with love and discipline. It's very, very important. Umar ibn Khattab said that a man is someone, when he comes home, he's like a baby lion. But then when he goes out, he's a full-grown lion. But some of us men, we are full-grown lions in the house. That's when we roar and roar. But the moment you go out and then we meet other men, we are like this, we are timid. So find someone who sees a future for your kids. And then find someone who is willing to nurture the next generation of responsible members of the community. It's very important. Wallahi, if you get married to a woman who is willing to nurture your kids and give them a good upbringing, wallahi, you have a lot of peace of mind to go out there, to go and struggle and fend for yourself. Wallahi, you know that when you have a good wife in the house, your mind is at peace. You go out there, you even want to kill yourself so that you can make ends meet, so that you provide for them because you see positivity in them. Some parents or some men, when they go out, when they go and fend, and then they remember that all these things I'm doing for these kids who do not respect me, who do not value me. You even lose the appetite for life. And it causes a lot of stress, a lot of suicidal thoughts, a lot of psychological and emotional trauma for men. That is why men die early. That's a fact. Because you are out there in the heat of the sun or in the cold of the winter trying to make ends meet, and then you come home and then she doesn't even care. There's no even welcome to you. You even say salam alaikum. Nobody even turns and looks at you. They are all on the cable. They are watching Netflix, or they are watching HBO Max, or they are watching Disney Plus. That's all they are interested in. You come home with bags of groceries for them, and nobody is even looking at you. So, Daddy, welcome. Let me help you with these bags. How will you go out tomorrow with a peace of mind to say, I'm going to look for sustenance for these people? So it's a balance. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khadija was such a person for him. So when he came home in that condition, in that situation, she said, Wallahi, la yukhziyaka Allahu abada. Wallahi, the Almighty Allah is never going to disgrace you. Find a spouse who will always remind you of the Almighty Allah, who will always advise you concerning the deen, who will speak to you about getting closer to the Almighty Allah. And then she said, why do I say that the Almighty Allah will not disgrace you, Ya Rasulullah? Innaka la tasilur rahim. Because you always make sure that you engage your kinship ties. You strengthen your kinship. You keep good family relations. Allah is very, very important. That you maintain good kinship ties. Your parents, if they are alive, your brothers, your sisters, wallahi, maintain a good kinship relationship with them. Because this kinship is a very, very important institution in Islam. The Prophet Muhammad said, kinship ties are placed next to the arsh of the Almighty Allah, next to the throne of the Almighty Allah. And then kinship is saying, Ya Allah, anybody who engages me, Almighty Allah, engage the person. But anybody who cuts me, Almighty Allah, cuts the person away. What is your relationship with your external family? What is your relationship with your uncles and your brothers and your sisters? Or now that you are married, you are only a nuclear family. Some people, they say, my family is me, my wife, our son, and our dog. That is his family. Yes, that is his family. But in Islam, it's not like that. You are not an island on your own. When you are getting married, it's not only two people that are getting married. It's two families, two communities that are getting married in Islam. So you need to have good kinship relationship, especially with your mother. Wallah, we've gotten to a stage now that young women who are looking for husbands, when you come to ask for a hand in marriage, the first question she asks you is your mother alive? If your mother is alive, she's not interested in a marriage. She says she doesn't want to be a rival of your mother. I've seen this. Why? Because when you get married, you're going to continue taking care of your mother, right? You're going to fend for your mother. And she's like, why will you fend for your mother, take care of your mother when she is there? I tell those girls or those men, if your mother hadn't given birth to you, she will not even meet you to tell you she loves you and then she wants you to marry her. And it's a fact. And let me tell you one thing. The day your mother dies, that is the end. But the day your wife dies, the following day we can give you another one. That's a fact. We can say this is your ex-wife, but we can never say this is your ex-mother. There's nothing like that. We can say this is your ex-wife, but we can never say this is your ex-mother. Even your mother's own sister cannot take your mother's place. So, maintain good kinship ties. A young man came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, man ahaqqun nasi bi husni sahabati. Ya Rasulullah, amongst people, amongst humanity, who deserves my utmost respect and love and companionship? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, your mother. He said, okay, Ya Rasulullah, who next after her? He said, your mother. He said, Ya Rasulullah, who next after her? He said, your mother. He said, Ya Rasulullah, who next after her? He said, your father. The mother took the gold price. She took the silver price. She took the bronze price. The father has to do with a consolation price. Mothers are not easy to come about. Especially you, the young ones that you are listening to us. Wallahi, be very careful how you relate with your mothers and your fathers. Because there is no way you will ever be able to repay them. There is no way. You can never ever pay them. There is a narration that says that during Hajj, during the time of Abdullah ibn Umar, a man came to Mecca from Yemen. He carried his mother on his back from Yemen to Mecca. And from Yemen to Mecca, the least I can say is maybe from here to North Carolina or South Carolina. That's the least distance. It might even be more than that. He carried her on his back and then he was on his foot. He walked. He came to Mecca with her and then he performed all the rites with her on his back. He said, Ya Abdullah ibn Umar, and this is what I've done. I carried for Hajj and all the deeds of Hajj, she was on my back. I carried her on her back. So I want to ask you, Abdullah ibn Umar, have I paid her back something? The rights that she has over me, have I paid her back something? And Abdullah ibn Umar laughed. And he said, when your mother was giving birth to you, the pains of labor that she had, the push that he said push, and she was if she had only 10 pushes, 10, and then you came out. If we pick one out of the 10 and divide that one into 10 parts, you've not paid her one out of that 10. Go back and just continue doing what you're doing, because you can never repay the mother back. You can't. You can never repay your father. So young men that you are listening to us, fine. You might live in communities that say the moment you are 18 years, you are old enough, you can leave the home. For us in Islam, even if you are 2 million years old and your parents are still alive, you are still their child. You still owe them a responsibility of being a responsible child. For us, that 18-year thing that some of you are using to run away from home, and because you want to go and do all kinds of things, in the end, you cry and come back. I want to go back to my mother. Yes, you need to go back because there are a lot of lessons that you must learn. When you are 18 years, you don't know anything yet in life. 18 years, you know nothing. Ask our fathers here who are 70 and 80. They will tell you what 18 years means. I'm going to be 18. I want to have my own place. I want to have my own space. I want to have my own condo. I want to have my own privacy. I want to have my own car. I want to have my own house. I want to have my own job. I want to have my own... And then you talk shit. And then when it hits the hall, come. Mommy, can I come home? And then she'll open up her doors again for you to come back. Because she loves you. So don't betray that love and that trust that your parents have for you. Look at your fathers. We are speaking about a lot of our mothers. Look at your fathers and how much fathers struggle. Look at this weather that we are in now. Yesterday, the cold hit my ears and I was like, no, do I still have ears? I touched the ears. And I said, it's still there. But men who go out there, 16-hour jobs, a day job. They go out there and they work dying hours. Look at the men in the security field. Look at the men who are doing the bricklaying. Look at the men who are in the fire department. Look at the men who are doing all those jobs, all those hard and tedious jobs. Some men will spend years with 1 or 2 or 3 clothes. But then you, the kids, they buy you all kinds of designer clothes. Even the socks that you wear is designer. No, I want to dry fit. You buy him a socks. No, daddy, this is not. No. I don't want this. And then the father will force himself and go buy all those things. And then you grow up, now that you are a man, to take care of your father and respect him, you want to disrespect him. And then you want to be successful in life. Well, sometimes the struggles we have in life is that we didn't build a good bonding with our parents. Sometimes, I'm not saying all, sometimes the struggles some people face in life is they didn't have a good relationship with their parents. So it created a lot of challenges and problems for them. Please build good relationships. So Khadija told the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that you are someone who strengthens your ties, your relationships with your family members. So please strengthen your ties. Khadija is reviving in the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. She's reminding him that you are someone who is good. You are someone who has this good quality. And then she is reminding him that that good quality is that he strengthens his ties. Please, let's strengthen our ties. Number 2, she told him, وَتَحْمِلُ الْكَلْبِ. You take responsibility of the weak people. People who are weak. People who cannot fend for themselves. You take upon yourself the responsibility to help them. Wallahi, this is a feature that has made Islam a very strong and dominant religion, whereby the strong help the weak. The concept of zakat is the rich give their monies to the poor, so that there is going to be a little bit of interdependence in the community. The weak need help. If you know of your brother who needs some level of help, not only financial help, that's not what I'm meaning. Any form of help that will put them on their feet, that will motivate them, give out that help. Even if it's a kind word, even if it's a smile in the face of the person. We all know each other in the Masjid. You know that, no, there's a brother who is struggling with his bills. If you can help in a way. You know it's a brother who is struggling with some emotional situation. He might have lost a loved one. He might go through, struggling getting a job. Help. Speak kind words to the person. Try as much as possible to know where the person is living. or what is happening with them, what is going on with them. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after he prays every salah, he says salamu alaikum, salamu alaikum. He turns and then he scans through the masjid to see who is there or who is not there. One day the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam turned after salah, and then he realized that there was a slave, a particular slave who was not in salah. He observed for a couple of days that slave was not coming, and then he asked, where is so and so? And they said, Ya Rasulullah, he is sick at home. And then he said, get up and let's go and visit him. And then the munafiqun, the hypocrites, were like, he's going to visit a slave. He went, the slave was sick, he did his salam, and then it happened that the angel of death was in there to take the life of the slave. And the Prophet Muhammad pronounced La ilaha illallah for the slave. He repeated La ilaha illallah, and then he died. The Prophet Muhammad washed the slave, he shrouded him, and then he buried him himself. Help people. Help people. Wallahi, you don't know what good deed you're going to do that will serve as a cushion for you to enter Jannah. You don't know. Maybe a kind word, maybe a pat on the shoulder, maybe a handshake, maybe a warm embrace for someone who's going through a lot. Wallahi, you know that people are going through a lot. It's just not written on their faces. People are having a lot of issues, emotional, psychological issues. Get closer to them, not to expose them, but to warm their hearts for them. Get closer to them so that you might be the light that will guide them onto the right path. Get closer to them so that you will be the stepping stone for them to climb out of the trenches and then the gutters that they find themselves in. This is what brotherhood is all about in Islam. مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كجسد الواحد. The similitude or the example of the Muslims in the love that they have for each other, in the sympathy that they have for each other, in the care that they have for each other, is like one body in اشتكى عضو. If one part of the body complains about an illness, تداعى عليه سائر الأعضاء. The rest of the body wakes up and stays up, trying to what? Trying to find solution for the problem that the body faces or that hand faces. The Prophet Muhammad says, Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min, Wallahi la yu'min. Wallahi, he is not a believer. Wallahi, his belief is not up to standard. The Sahaba like, who ya Rasulullah? He said, Man bata shaba'an wa jaruhu jari. You sleep satisfied, you've ate, you're full. Even some of the food, you threw it away into the trash can. And then your neighbor is going to sleep on a hungry stomach, and then you know it, and then you didn't help them. The Prophet Muhammad said, Wallahi la yu'min. Wallahi, you are not a believer. How many of us get to food? We eat food, we buy food, we prepare food, we have leftovers. Instead of, packaging them well and then looking for a neighbor who, is struggling with his food or his finances, we throw it into the trash can. And then we want to call ourselves Muslims. We want to call ourselves Mu'minun. And then I meet you, Salaam alaikum, alaikum salam, how are you? Kafal hal akhi, mashallah, hibbukallah. Munafiki. That's not true Islam. There's a qissa of Bani Israel that a man and his wife were sitting down to eat. And then they heard someone at the door. I'm hungry. Who is going to help me with food? I'm hungry. Who is going to help me with food? The woman took a knife to cut some of the meat to send to the man. And the husband asked her, what are you trying to do? She said, I'm trying to cut some of the meat to send it to the guy who is begging outside. He said, hey, in my house, there's no sadaqah. No sadaqah. وَتِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. You see, these days, the Almighty Allah turns them on people. Today, you might have the shade over your head. Tomorrow, the shade will move and go onto someone else's head. When the shade is on you, try as much as possible to stretch it to other people. The day the shade moves from you and then it goes to them, they also stretch the shade back to you. This man told No. His money got finished. He couldn't take care of the wife. And then he divorced her. She went and then she got. They were sitting down to eat, exactly like the first time. And then she took knife. She's going to cut some meat. He asked her, what are you going to do? She said, I want to cut some meat to send it to the guy outside who is what? Who is begging. He said, no, pick everything and send it to him. She picked the whole food. She sent it to the man. When she was coming back, she was crying. He was like, oh, why are you crying? We have enough food in the house. We just part ways with just something small. She said, no, I'm not crying because we've given out the food. He asked her, why are you crying? She said, do you know the man who is outside begging? He said, no, I didn't even see him. She said, that is my ex-husband. That's my ex-husband. And why are you crying? She said, one day I was sitting down with him eating. And then someone came in to beg for food. He didn't give the food. Today he's the one begging outside. And then he told her, do you know who I am really? She said, you are my husband. He said, no, I'm the first beggar who came and then you sacked. This is life. إذا جادت عليك الدنيا فتتبيها على الناس لأنها تتقلب. If the Almighty Allah gives you shade in this dunya, try as much as possible to extend the shade onto people, because shades do not stay at one place. The moment the sun is moving, the shade will also move. During the time of Musa والسلام, there is also another story. That a man came to Musa and said, Ya Nabi Allah, I'm a poor man. I don't have any money. I'm struggling. Please, when you go to speak with Allah, tell Allah, me too, some of the dollars. I want some. And Musa said, no problem. Okay. And then when Musa met the Almighty Allah and his God, Almighty Allah said to Musa, no problem, Musa, tell that man that I'm going to give him money. I'm going to give him wealth. But then the wealth is only going to be for only 2 years. After 2 years, he's going to go back to being a poor person. So Musa came and told the man, this is what Allah is saying, do you agree? He decided to say no. His wife said, agree, accept it. You know women, they accept it. And they accepted it. Yeah, then the money started coming. The wealth started coming. After 6 months of enjoying the wealth, they were sleeping at night one day and she woke him up. Said, what is it? You know, we're given only 24 months. Now we've spent 6. It's remaining 18 months. We need to find a strategy. And then he asked her, what is the strategy? She said, you see this money, if we spend it alone, after the 24 months, we are going to go back to poverty alone. Do you know what you are going to do? He said, no. Let's employ people. Let's give people the money. Let's set up people with businesses. After 2 years, if you go back to poverty, those people, they will not look at us and leave us alone like that to suffer. At least they will support us. He said, that is a very smart idea. That is why when you are getting married, marry people who are sensible. Young men that you are listening to us, don't go and marry women because they are beautiful. And some of you go crazy. Hey, if I don't marry her, I will die. Even if you don't marry her, you will die. So he started establishing people, give people money, set up businesses. And the more he did that, the more his money was increasing. The more he gave out, the more the money was increasing. Now 6 more months to the deadline. He was like, we have 6 more months, the money is going to finish. He said, you know what we are going to do? Now let's build a guest house. And let's cook food every day. Morning, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Everybody should come and eat. Because 6 months time, the money is going to finish. When we go to Qiyamah and the Almighty Allah asks us, what did you do with the money? We say, we fed people with the money. We gave them food. And then 6 months later, the money was still there. You go and check his account. The money was still there, increasing. So he went back to Musa and said, Musa, the Almighty Allah said that 2 years, After 2 years, the money is going to finish. Now it's 2 years and 6 months, and the money keeps on coming. Why? And when Musa came, the Almighty Allah told him, tell that man, when I gave him the wealth, he was not stingy. He gave to people. He helped people. And so long as he's going to help people, I, the Almighty Allah, I'm going to continue giving him so that he continues to give to my servants. وَتَحْمِلُ الْكَلْمِ. Take responsibility of weak people, people who need help, and then try as much as possible to do it between yourself and the Almighty Allah. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تُبْطِلُوا صَدَقَاتِكُمْ بِالْمَنِّ وَالْأَذَى. Don't destroy your good deeds through show off and then through having a bad or a sharp tongue to people. When you help someone, make it a secret between yourself and the Almighty Allah. If you can help people without them even knowing, help them without them even knowing. Wallahi, the Almighty Allah is going to reward you. Khadija spoke a lot about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She told him, وَتَقْسِمُ الْمَعْدُومِ. You give out money to people who need it. وَتُقْرِئُ الضَّيْفِ. You take care of visitors. وَتُعِينُ عَلَى نَوَائِبِ الْحَقِّ. You always help people who need assistance. If someone is on the truth and the person is being oppressed, you help the person. In a nutshell, we looked at Khadija's relationship to the wahi. She didn't run away. She didn't sack the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She didn't scream at him and say, "Yo, you are a coward. You only saw Jibreel and then you are running away." No. She took care of him. She spoke nice words to him. So our lesson today is, when you are getting married, find a spouse who is devout on the deen. Find a spouse who understands you and sympathizes with you. Find a spouse who is willing to see a vision for your future. Find a spouse who is willing to nurture your kids. Whether you are a male or a female, find someone that your life with, through good and bad, is going to be comfortable. Some people, when you marry them, they are only with you through good times. The moment the table turns and then you are finding yourself in struggling times, they don't want to have anything to do with you. Me, I didn't get married to you to go through this, all this suffering. Me, I don't even understand my bad luck. No. Me, I'm not going to get married again. Sometimes people come with us with cases of marriage, and then you look at the situation and then you can't even understand why one of the partners wants a divorce. You will think and think and think and think. Even your brain is going to blow up because you can't even understand why. Because there is no concrete reason for that divorce. And finally, when you are choosing a spouse for your kids, wallahi, don't look at material things. Some fathers, they see their daughters as investment. Oh, this girl, she's getting married. If I don't get at least $20,000, it means I've wasted my time. I need to make money out of it. So it's now become an auction to the highest bidder. This is not allowed. This is not encouraged at all in Islam. The Prophet Muhammad said, إِذَا جَاءَكُمْ مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَخُلُقَهُ فَزَوِّجُوهُ. If a man comes and then you are satisfied with his deen and then his character, give him a wife. And I'm not saying to that just give your daughter to just anybody who cannot take care of her. That's not what I'm saying. Understand? Strike a balance. The fact that we say marry your daughter to someone who has good deed and then good character, that doesn't mean just anybody. No. Look for someone who can adequately take care of her. But that should not be the default position or the bottom line. The bottom line is that it's a deen, and then the person has character, and the person has a meaningful job that he can take care of your wife, your daughter. Don't give your daughters out to lazy men. No. Give your daughters out to men who fear Allah. Even if he doesn't love her, he will have sympathy and mercy for her. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم.